Here's something that keeps me up at night. 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's not because they're lazy or unlucky. The system is actually designed to keep people financially trapped.
That's such a striking statistic. And you know what's even more disturbing? Most people don't even realise they're caught in this cycle.
Let me paint a picture of how deep this goes. We spend over a decade in school learning about everything from ancient history to advanced calculus, but somehow nobody teaches us how money actually works.
Well, that's the thing that really gets me. How is it possible that basic financial literacy isn't a core part of education? It almost seems intentional.
That's exactly right. Because the system isn't designed to create financially independent people. It's designed to create reliable workers who will stay in debt their whole lives.
Speaking of debt, I was looking at some recent numbers. The average credit card interest rate has now climbed above 20%. That's absolutely predatory.
And here's what makes it even more insidious. Banks are making money off of money they don't even have thanks to fractional reserve banking. Meanwhile, regular people are working themselves to exhaustion trying to pay back loans with crushing interest rates.
You know what really struck me recently? The fundamental difference between how wealthy people and average people think about money. Most of us are stuck in this time for money trap.
Let me break that down further. When you're trading time for money, you're automatically limited by the hours in a day. But wealthy people, they've figured out how to make money work for them through investments, businesses, and assets that generate passive income.
So what would you say is the biggest mindset difference between the wealthy and everyone else?
It comes down to how they think about extra money. When most people get a bonus or raise, their first thought is what they can buy. New car, better apartment, latest gadgets. But wealthy people immediately think about how they can turn that money into more money.
That reminds me of something I read. The average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. Meanwhile, most people rely on just one paycheck.
And here's what's fascinating about those multiple income streams. They're usually built gradually over time. The wealthy don't just wake up one day with 7 income sources. They systematically build them while everyone else is busy buying depreciating assets.
Well, that brings up another important point, the difference between assets and liabilities. Most people don't even understand the distinction.
Let me give a concrete example. When someone buys a new car for $50,000, they think they've acquired an asset, but that car will lose 20 to 30% of its value in the first year alone. Meanwhile, someone else takes that same $50,000 and invests it in a dividend-paying index fund or rental property.
And 5 years later, one person has a used car worth maybe half what they paid, while the other has an appreciating asset generating monthly income.
Exactly. And this connects to another crucial point, the power of compound interest. Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it earn it. Those who don't pay it.
That's particularly relevant when we look at how most people handle their finances. They're paying compound interest on credit cards while missing out on earning it through investments.
Let me share some numbers that really drive this home. If you invest $500 monthly starting at age 25, earning an average 8% return, you'll have over $1.5 million by age 65. But if you wait until 35 to start, you'll only have about $650,000.
Those 10 years make that much difference. That's absolutely mind-blowing.
And here's what makes it even more tragic. Most people spend more time planning their next vacation than planning their financial future. The system has conditioned us to focus on immediate gratification rather than long-term wealth building.
Well, that brings up something I've been thinking about. How social media and advertising play into this whole system. We're constantly bombarded with messages to spend.
Let me tell you why that's so effective. Our brains are wired for immediate rewards. It's much easier to swipe a credit card for instant gratification than to invest for a payoff that might be years or decades away.
And the credit card companies know exactly what they're doing with those reward points and cash back offers, don't they?
Oh, they've got it down to a science. They know that for every dollar they give in rewards, they'll make multiple dollars back in interest charges. It's like a casino. The house always wins.
So, what would you say is the first step for someone who wants to break free from this cycle?
The very first step is to stop digging the hole deeper. That means no new debt, period. Then create a plan to attack existing debt, starting with the highest interest rates. But here's the key, you have to do this while simultaneously educating yourself about how money really works.
That makes sense. Though I imagine a lot of people might feel overwhelmed by where to start with that education.
Here's what I recommend. Start with understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt helps you acquire assets that appreciate or generate income. Bad debt is used to buy depreciating assets or fund consumption.
That's such an important distinction that most people never learn.
And while you're learning these concepts, start thinking differently about every purchase. Instead of asking, can I afford the monthly payment? Ask, is this making me richer or poorer in the long run?
That's such a powerful shift in thinking. It completely changes how you view money decisions.
Let me share another crucial concept, the importance of creating multiple income streams. Start small. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's learning to invest in index funds. Maybe it's starting an online business. The key is to begin breaking free from relying solely on your job.
Though I imagine some people might worry about finding the time for all this while working full time.
That's where leverage comes in. You don't need to work more hours. You need to make your money work harder. Start with just 1 hour a day learning about investing or building a side business. It's not about working yourself to death. It's about working smarter.
You know what's interesting? Once you start making these changes, it creates this positive snowball effect.
Absolutely right. As you start seeing small wins, maybe your first investment returns or your first side income, it builds confidence. That confidence leads to thinking bigger, seeing more opportunities, and taking more calculated risks.
So, what would you say to someone listening who feels trapped in their current financial situation?
First, recognize that feeling trapped is actually a good sign. It means you're aware something needs to change. Second, understand that financial freedom isn't about having a certain amount of money. It's about having control over your time and choices.
That's such an important distinction.
And here's the final thought I want to leave everyone with. The system might be designed to keep you broke, but once you understand how it works, you can use that same system to build wealth instead. It's not about playing a different game. It's about playing the same game with better strategy.
And remember, it's never too late to start making better financial decisions. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today.